I am recording. Well, it seems that nobody's going to connect today. Anyway, I'm going to do the class as far as I can get. I know that Francisca tried to connect, but her connection failed. So finally, nobody is connected. So I'm going to start with Unit 6, which is the one that we're going to start with. So we are going to start with page 58, okay? And this page is living with the past, okay? Now here you have like, we're going to start with word formation, but first it is supposed that you have to work in pairs and discuss questions. You have two questions in there. Why do you think many people are so fascinated by dinosaurs? And what is the appeal of searching for ancient remains such as coins or fossils? Well, I'm going to express my opinion since I don't have anybody to discuss with. Um, well, it is always interesting to we are all being fascinated by dinosaurs. First of all, because there were, you know, animals who were so big and and they I mean they were so huge and the first people, the first men who were in the earth had to fight against these big animals, and they could do it. Okay, um, so I think that people always wonder how a human being can fight against those huge monsters, and also it is interesting to know why they disappeared. I mean, nobody knows why, but they disappeared. So that is something that is important, probably to know, and that's why people are fascinated about these huge animals. Um, Now, what is the appeal of searching for ancient remains such as coins or fossils? Well, I think that people always feel attracted uh, by these elements and these remains because they tell you something about the history or our human history. Now, Francisca is coming again. I hope that she could connect now. I'm going to wait for her. Okay, let's see if she can connect this time. Francisca, are you there? Hello. Hello. Francisca, are you there? No. Well, it seems that she cannot connect in the end. So I'm going to continue with what I was saying. Okay, so what is the attraction of searching for ancient remains? I think those remains can give you hints, or yeah, I would say hints of our own history. Okay, the history of humanity. Always interesting to know how people used to live in the past, how they could survive. All right, so I think that that's one of the things that it was and attractive about these big animals. Okay, Francisca, are you there? I can't hear you. No. Okay, so let's continue. In here it says a mammoth find. Okay, and then in here you have to complete with the words that are with capital letters on the right side of the page. It says, a mammoth named Genia, after the 11-year-old boy who made the astonishing find, is thought to be the most, here you have perfect. reserved animal. So I'm thinking here you should have an adverb, okay? Because it's a verb, so you are modifying the verb. So it is perfectly reserved animal of its kind. The last great mammoth was unearthed in 1901. So this finding has caused great excitement among ologists. Genius, in here you have to use remains, so genius remains were excavated from the Siberian permafrost taken to St. Petersburg, or the word there is analyze, so in here you have to use a noun for analysis. Tests show that Genia was 15 years old, 2 meters tall, imagine 2 meters tall, and it weighed 500 kilograms. Is consider, you have to use another here also, considerably smaller than other mammoths finds. What probably killed Genia was not his size, but a missing left tusk made him fit, made him unfit for fights with other mammoths or human hunters who were settling the Siberian marshes and swamps 20,000 or 30,000 years ago. Okay, first of all, if you don't know the word tusk, the tusk are those big, big teeth that the mammoths uh, uh, had near their, I can't remember the word, but like mouth, their mouth. So this is a tusk. They usually cut those tusks for do things with them. Then continuing with this, it says, so Genia's death might have been the result of a in this case, confrontation with an ice age man. Zoologists now believe that mammoths were driven to extinct, so in here you use extinction by humans as well as by changing climate. Okay, so this is the reading about this finding. Okay, so mammoths were animals who uh, were huge, you know that, but it was interesting to know about them. So anytime that they find any of these animals, dinosaurs or mammoths or any kind of big animals, they start to uh, calculate the years in which they lived and the elements that are around them. So in that case, they can help you to see or to discover, for example, the type of materials they use, the type of weapons they use, etc., etc. So it's a finding of a mammoth could be very, very interesting for uh, scientists, right? Yeah. So now there are certain exercises. Number 3 here says, which of the words in capitals in activity 2 form a noun ending in the suffix "son"? We have 2 in there. We have number 7, confrontation, and number 8, extinction. Okay. Or which of the words in capitals in activity 2 form a word with the prefix "an"? Fit, unfit. And which of the words in capital in activity 2 have 2 noun forms with different meanings? I would say remain, because remain could be a bone, or remains could be uh, from other people. So now Macarena is trying to connect. Let's see if she can do it. Asika is trying again. Let's see. Okay, Macarena. Okay, Francisca. Hello, hello, both of you. I started anyway, okay? So I already covered this page, right?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
as nobody,
Sorry.
Sorry.
no, as nobody connected, okay, I started anyway because I know, as you know, I'm going to teach anyway. I cannot leave this moments because if I don't pass all the contents of the unit, you know that I'm going to retire, so I need to cover everything. Okay, so I started with this, but in here it's the story of a mammoth. You have two questions in there. For example, why do you think many people are so fascinated by dinosaurs? Most people are fascinated by dinosaurs, especially kids. Okay, and we are all fascinated by these animals. Why do you think people are so fascinated by those animals? So attracted by those animals? What is your
For,
opinion?
for, for me, it is amazing because we are talking about thousand years ago about animals, big animals that lived here in this planet.
Hmm? Okay. Any other thing, Macarena? What do you think about those mammoths? Were you fascinated when you were a kid about these animals?
It's the same with Francisca because it's incredible the 1,000 years ago.
Yeah. And in here, there was another question that says,
Sir, I'm sorry. What is the page?
page 58. 58. Okay, and there was another question. What is the appeal of searching for ancient remains? Do you know what remains mean?
No.
The remains are the things that are left from something. Remains of an animal are the bones, you know, when you die, you are there. And everything that's in there, although you are dead, are your remains. Yeah. When there is a building and the building is destroyed, okay, or there's a bomb or something, you know, destroy that building, what is in there are the remains of this building. What is left from those buildings? Okay. So in here the question is, what is the appeal or the attraction of searching for ancient remains? Why people it's all the time looking for remains, for old, you know, bodies, or for dead bodies of animals, or for old buildings, like for example, I don't know, the Colosseum in Rome. Why do people try to do that? What do you think?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Because we're all the time looking for remains. Why? Macarena, what's your opinion? Do you have any idea about this? Macarena?
No, no, really no.
Well, the remains can give you elements or knowledge of ancient civilizations. If you find a coin, for example, small coin, you can see, you know,
Maybe,
in the first, I don't know, in the 5th century, some people used money, for example.
maybe,
Mhm.
maybe also is our an ancestor. I don't say antepasado.
Ancestors,
Ancestor?
yeah. When you find things about old times, you can, you know, recognize things. You can know about, as you said, of your ancestors. You can know about the civilizations. You can know how they lived, if they had money, or if they exchanged things in order to eat, for example. I don't know. Everything is,
About years.
yeah, everything is new for you. So that's the idea of remains. That's why people are attracted by remains, you know. I think that in personal case, I would love to know, for example, when I had the opportunity to travel, one of my dreams was to know, for example, the Roman Colosseum. Yeah, and I went there because when I was a student, I studied that, and I was fascinated by the history of that, old building. I knew that in there, there were combats between lions and Christians, and the lions used to eat those animals, and I wanted to know about that, and that is history. Everything that is remain is telling you something about the history of humanity. I remember that day when I entered the Roman Colosseum, there was a tour guide who was telling us the story, and I didn't know, for example, that in the Colosseum, right?
Coliseum?
The Colosseum, the Roman Colosseum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
you know the building. I mean, you don't know it, probably you don't know it personally, but you have heard about it. You have seen it. You know
Yeah.
that in the Roman Colosseum, there were those fights between the Christian, the Catholics, and the lions. But in the same place, there were naval combats. Did you know that?
Neighbor?
Naval, with ships.
Okay.
They had certain tubes, and they put water. They fill the Colosseum, the arena of the Colosseum, the middle of the Colosseum, with water, and they had naval combats between ships. They fight against other. I didn't know about that. And that day, the tour guide told us about it. There were a lot of interesting things that he told us. For example, he said we were, observing the Colosseum, everything. It's like a big stadium. It's like a big stadium. And then they said, "Do you want to know the bathrooms of the Colosseum?" And we said yes. We were a group of people, and he took us to the back part of the where they were sit, and at the back there was like a channel, okay, on the floor, and that was the bathroom. So women and men pee in there, together. A man or a
Together.
woman, a man or a woman. So the women who wear those big, big dresses, they just put it up and they pee in there like this. And the men pee standing. But it was like a big channel in there. And that was a bathroom, So for
Well,
us, because
I
they
didn't
were,
know that.
huh?
I didn't know about it.
Yeah, but that was, we're talking about, the Colosseum was before Christ, I think.
Mm.
Yeah. And the other thing that the guy told us, he told us that, for example, when there were those combats with the lions, all the corpses or the bodies of people who was dead in there, they were taken into a place. All the bodies were taken into a place. And he said that the smell of the bodies was all over for blocks and blocks away. And it was the smell of that's, of those, that flesh who was, spoiled. Okay.
Delicious.
Yeah, but I mean, it's incredible to think about that. Okay. So everything that you know about history is fascinating. For me, it is I learned a lot of things that day. I remember that was one of my, probably I could say that one of my most beautiful days in my life, because it was a dream that I had since I was a student. I have to know one day I'm going to go to the Colosseum and I'm going to see it. Went there and I could see it. The only bad thing about that day, I was with my wife, and we were on a tour. And the person who directed the tour said, "Don't buy anything here. Don't buy anything, because when you get off the bus, they are going to offer you a lot of things. Don't buy anything because it's all Chinese things." No, we didn't buy it, and it was the time. I mean, the weather was kind of dark, And so when I get off the bus, when we got off the bus, lots of guys came. They offered us, watches, chains, but they offered umbrellas. And I said, no, I don't want to buy. But then we went into the Coliseum and it started raining so hard, and it was raining hard, and my body was totally wet because I didn't want to buy the umbrellas. But I said, why I didn't buy the umbrella? I had some pictures in which were like, my wife is with her hair is like, but it was a lot of fun, it was a wonderful day. What would you like to know, for example, you personally? Is there any place that you would like to visit, something that you would love to visit?
Um, Egyptian?
The pyramids?
Yes,
The pyramids.
pyramids. Yeah,
Egyptian, that's the pronunciation. Egyptian pyramids. Yeah, the Egyptian pyramids. Yeah, that's
The story,
nice
the
too.
story is awesome.
Yeah, right. Macarena, anything that you would like to know, to visit one day?
The hero,
What?
the hero in general.
But what
Tell me.
heroes? What heroines?
For example, Zurich.
Zurich, the
Yes,
capital of Switzerland. The capital of Switzerland.
the capital. Yes.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Why would you like to visit that place or that town?
Maybe for the snow.
Because you don't say for the snow, you say because of the snow. Because of the snow. Right. Because of the snow. Okay,
And
Tamara.
holiday.
On holidays. Yeah, okay. Tamara. Are you there, Tamara?
Yes, I'm here.
Why don't you turn on your camera, please?
I'm sorry, I'm on my phone because my computer doesn't
It's not working.
work. Yes, so that's why.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I'm here.
So what would you like to know? Is there any place that you would like to visit in your life?
Yes.
What?
Paris,
Paris.
the
Anything,
tower of
anything in particular about
yes,
Paris?
the tower of Eiffel.
Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower. I went there
Yes.
too. I visited
Oh,
Eiffel Tower. Yeah. But for
yes,
me, it was,
because
I mean, it was a tour of 21 days when I went to Europe with my wife. I visited France, Italy, Spain, Switzerland for one afternoon, I think, and London. But what I liked the most was Italy. Italy is fantastic. France, I could go to the Eiffel Tower, and we rented a boat in the Seine River, and we went down the river. But for me, it was more beautiful Italy. What about you, Melissa? Is there any place that you would like to visit in your life?
Yes, I would really like to visit England,
England.
Liverpool.
I know that you're a Beatlemaniac, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That is. I told you that I didn't go. I was. That is
yes,
one
I
of,
remember.
I regret about that. I didn't visit the Cavern Club. Yeah, you would like to go there.
Yeah, and Scotland, to the Highlands.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. So it's we always have a certain kind of dream in your life. Now what I've been in the States. I lived in the States. I visited Europe, but I think Europe is much more beautiful than the United States. The architecture.
Really?
So marvelous. Yeah. I mean, the United States is beautiful. It has, plenty of space, but all the constructions are square,
Okay.
like, very, very square. No, or buildings, and that's it. But in Europe, you see history. Wherever you go, you can find history. For example, you walk in the street and the streets are of cobblestones. Do you know what cobblestones are?
No.
In Valparaiso, we have certain roads with cobblestones, which are,
Adoquines?
yeah, pieces of stone that are put on the floor. And then they make a, like a road with this. Cobblestones are, yeah, adoquines, right? So in Europe, you find a lot of, roads like that. And apart from the, all the construction is from Morisque, from the Morons, from Spanish ancestors, from Italian, Baroque. You have a lot of art in Europe. Lots of places, lots of wonderful places. I think it's more beautiful than the United States. United States is more modern, probably. The countryside is beautiful in the United States, but it's not like in here. You have a lot of constructions in Valparaiso, which are really beautiful, with lots of styles and things. The problem is that in here we never look up, so we don't see that. But if you walk along the streets in Valparaiso, you're going to find lots of, like French constructions or things like that, with a lot of styles, with like I don't know how to name those, like little people in there. It's I think that Europe is more beautiful than the United States, and London is pretty attractive too. Okay, but well, now what I would like to go to, which is also history, but some people don't like it, I would like to go to the concentration camps, German concentration camps, because although, it's a sad history, I think that I can tell you something about moments of life that shouldn't be repeated. And for me, it would be interesting to know that. For me, I don't know about you, but for me, it's kind of something attractive. Okay, let's move into the next page 59 on your books. Page 59 on your books. And it here says, you will hear 3 different extracts. Question 1-6, choose the answer A, B, or C, which fits best according to what you hear. There are 2 questions for each extract, okay? For example, extract 1 says, you hear 2 friends discussing an excavation project in their town. Number 1, what has the woman found surprising? A, that there is such a large team of archaeologists. B, that residents were previously unaware of the site. C, that the excavation hadn't taken place sooner. That is for question number 1. Question number 2. Melissa, read that, please.
In what way do the speakers agree their attitude to the town has changed? A, they feel more connected to the past as a result. B, they would like to find out more about the town's history. C, they think it gives the town a special character.
Okay. If you want to read the exam tip that is on the left, Tamara, why don't you read the exam tip on the left?
The exam tip.
Yes, yes.
Okay. The second time you listen, check that the 2 options you have rejected for each answer are definitely wrong, and that the one you have chosen answers the question.
Okay, so the idea here is that you are going to listen twice. So the first time you have your choice. You have your choice, so you put a choice. But then the second time, you check that the choice you chose is the correct one, and the other ones, and the other 2 are incorrect. Okay, so that's the idea. We're going to listen then to the first extract. We're going to stop. We're going to answer the question, and then we'll go to extract 2, and then we'll go to extract 3. But anytime we're going to read, because that's another thing that you have to do. Whenever you're going to do a listening, First of all, you have to read all the options that you have. Read the question and read the options that you have. Okay, so that is what we're going to do. I'm going to share screen, and let me check if I can. Let's see. Wait a minute, please. It's 20. Units. Wait a minute.
Have you been down to the archaeological site recently?
Yes, the other
Can you
day.
listen?
It was really fascinating to
Yes,
see how
I'm going to
much
put it
the
again,
archaeologists
okay?
have unearthed.
Listening focus.
Yeah.
Activity 6. 1.
Have you been down to the archaeological site recently?
Yes, the other day. It was really fascinating to see how much the archaeologists have unearthed already. I was amazed by it, really. I mean, it's a huge site. And even with a sizable team in place, they've only uncovered a fraction of it. It's going to be absolutely enormous when they've finished. I just can't believe that something like this can remain undiscovered for hundreds of years and only now come to light. And all of us locals virtually living on top of an important ancient settlement without having a clue that it's there.
I know. It makes you look at Saxton differently, doesn't it? I don't know about you, but even though there are lots of more famous sites around, this feels more significant to me somehow.
I know what you mean. We're all familiar with the history of the town over the last few hundred years, but this takes us back much further in time.
It's like the layers of centuries have been removed and I can actually understand much better how people lived over 1,000 years ago.
And in some ways, our lives haven't changed that much.
Okay. We're going to give a check first, okay? So put what you think, A, B, or C, A, B, or C, all right? Okay, so in the first one, what has the woman found surprising, do you think? That there is such a large team of archaeologists, that the residents were previously unaware of the site, that the excavation hadn't taken place sooner. A, B, or C, what do you think?
B.
Sorry?
B.
B, all right, B. Yes, I think it is B. And if we listen to page, this part 29, I think it is, no. Like in this part, they say it. Wait a minute.
Finished. I just can't believe that something like this can remain undiscovered for hundreds of years.
Something of this can remain undiscovered for thousands of years. Okay, there you go. There you have the answer. The residents were previously unaware of the site. That is surprising, okay? And the other one, in what way do the speakers agree their attitude to the town has changed? What do you think?
A.
A, yes. I think it is A. It says, they feel more connected to the past as a result.
Over the last few hundred years, but this takes us back much further in time.
It's like
Okay? Yes, take us much further in time. Take us back much further in time. Okay?
the layers of centuries have been removed and I can actually understand much better how people lived over 1,000 years ago.
And in some ways, our lives haven't changed that much.
Okay, now the extract 2. You hear two friends discussing a visit to a dinosaur exhibition at a natural history museum. The man compares the exhibition unfavorably with a computer game. So you make a comparison between a computer game and going to the museum. And he thinks that it's better to have a computer game. Why? What are the reasons? It says, A, to emphasize its poor value for money. B, to show its lack of appeal for children. C, to highlight its limited educational value. Okay, so listen to that part. Okay.
2.
What did you think of the dinosaur exhibition then, James?
You know, I'd enjoy playing a computer game about dinosaurs more than this exhibition.
Really? All the kids around us were absolutely loving it.
I know, but they didn't have to pay to get in. You'd spend less on a computer game and could then relive the experience again and again. And the special effects would be far superior.
But I think you get more of an idea of the scale of dinosaurs from this exhibition and what the environment was really like.
I suppose so. And the other thing is, I'm not sure how historically accurate games generally are.
Well,
Okay. Now, what do you think? A, to emphasize its poor value for money. To show its lack of appeal for children. C, to highlight its limited educational value. What do you think? A, B, C, A, B, or C?
A.
A, right, because at the beginning he says that, at the beginning of this, he says that, let me check.
Experience again and again.
No.
And the special effects would be far... I know, but they didn't have to pay to get in.
Yeah, I didn't
This
have to pay to
exhibition.
get in.
really? All the kids around us were absolutely loving
Yeah, they say that the kids loved it, yeah? But what did he say?
it.
I know, but they didn't have to pay to get in. You'd spend less on a computer game and could then relive the experience again and again.
Okay? That's in there, yeah. I don't have to pay first, and then I can live the experience again and again in a computer, right? So for that reason, he says that it's better to do it that way. And the second part, what do they agree is the problem with exhibits? We have to watch that.
And the special effects would be far superior.
But I think you get more of an idea of the scale of dinosaurs from this exhibition and what the environment was really like.
I suppose so. And the other thing is, I'm not sure how historically accurate games generally are.
Well, that's quite a big consideration. The museum obviously tried hard to recreate a real dinosaur experience, and some of the dinosaurs were pretty terrifying, but I felt I didn't really learn enough. I gave up trying to read those little information signs because there was always a large group of people around and I couldn't see them properly.
I just came away feeling confused about when the different dinosaur periods were and which dinosaurs were which.
Okay, so what do they agree is the problem with exhibits? A, they covered only a limited period. B, the model dinosaurs were unconvincing. And C, the information wasn't presented clearly.
C.
C, that's right. C, he said it like twice. Yeah, he said that he didn't understand quite well, for example, about the dinosaurs. And also the woman said that she didn't learn much because there were too many people. So listen again for that part, okay? Wait.
The museum obviously tried hard to recreate a real dinosaur experience, and some of the dinosaurs were pretty terrifying, but I felt the scale of dinosaurs from this exhibition and what the environment was really like.
I suppose so. And the other thing is, I'm not sure how historically accurate games generally are.
Well, that's quite a big consideration. The museum obviously tried hard to recreate a real dinosaur experience, and some of the dinosaurs were pretty terrifying, but I felt I didn't really learn enough.
I find that I didn't really learn enough. That is what. And then
I gave up trying to read those little information signs because there was always a large group of people around and I couldn't see them properly.
They couldn't see. And although they tried to read, they couldn't see.
I just came away feeling confused about when the different dinosaur periods were and...
He felt confused about the different periods of dinosaurs, see? So they had a lot of problems.
Which dinosaurs were which?
Okay, now the extract 3. You hear two family members discussing staying at an old holiday house as children. Yeah, this is in there. You have the picture of the old holiday house as children. Okay, it's an old house, and it says, "How did the woman feel about staying at the house?" A, curious about previous inhabitants. B, frustrated by the lack of modern comfort. C, scared by stories she heard about the house. Let's see that part first.
3.
That really old house in Wales is for sale, where we had that holiday, do you remember? Look, it's completely unchanged.
Yes, of course. It was such a weird place, wasn't it? Great for playing hide and seek, though.
Yes, brilliant, but freezing cold. And Mum was always complaining there was never any hot water. But what I mainly remember is lying awake at night, thinking about the people that lived there before, wondering what their lives must have been like. Dad used to make up creepy stories about the people in the old paintings.
Which were quite unbelievable.
It would be awful if the person who buys it tries to modernise it. I'd hate to...
Okay. Yeah. A, B, or C? I think that in here they give like confusing information, but there is only one that is more emphasized. What do you think? A, curious about previous inhabitants. B, frustrated by the lack of modern comfort. And C, scared by stories she heard about the house.
A.
A? Did you say A, Melissa?
Yes.
Yes, it is A. She was curious, but in a certain moment she said that, for example, her mother complained but because there was no hot water. So in that case, you could see, oh, maybe she was frustrated by the lack of modern comfort. See? Could have been also. She said that she was, she was kind of, when she was there, she was kind of listening to those creepy inhabitants, thinking about it. But letter C says, scared by the stories she heard about the house? No, because he said they were quite unbelievable. So letter C is out. Let's listen again, and you will see the option. Let's see.
Yes, of course. It was such a weird place, wasn't it? Great for playing hide and seek, though.
Yes, brilliant, but freezing cold. And Mum was always complaining there was never any hot water. But what I mainly remember is lying awake at night, thinking about the people that lived there before, wondering what their lives must have been like. Dad used
See, in there they said, she said it.
To make up creepy stories about the people in the old paintings.
Which were quite unbelievable.
It would be awful.
Yeah. Now, the other part says, the speakers express the hope that the house will A, be available for holidays, B, retain its character, C, become a museum. What is what they want? Okay, what is what they want? Listen.
Paintings.
Which were quite unbelievable.
It would be awful if the person who buys it tries to modernise it. I'd hate to see it lose its character.
It would be criminal to turn it into flats or a hotel, but I wouldn't worry because it's bound to have a preservation order on it because it's so old.
I expect you're right. It's awful to think of all the furniture and paintings being sold off or ending up in a museum. I wish we could afford to buy it.
And take our kids there on holiday. Dream on.
Okay, so the speaker expressed the hope that the house will A, be available for holidays, B, retain its character, C, become a museum.
B?
B, yes. They don't want it to be changed. Okay? Okay, now, in here it says, which of the adjectives in the box can be used with the prefix in, and which can be used with un? You have accurate, believable, changed, convincing, covered, discovered, favorable, informative, modernized, significant, which can be modified with in and which can be modified with un. Give it a try, Okay.
Inaccurate.
I'm give you 7 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Try to have the whole idea. So you tell me these are the ones who can be changed with in, and this can be changed with un. Ready? Okay. Which can be used with in?
Insignificant.
Significant, yes, that's one. What other?
Inaccurate.
I think inaccurate. Okay, any other?
No.
No. Yes. All the others are with un. Unbelievable, unchanged, unconvincing, uncovered, undiscovered, unfavorable, uninformative, unmodernized. I haven't seen that word in my life, unmodernized. It sounds like pretty, I don't know how to say it, but I mean, I've never heard anything like unmodernized. Unmodern. Who can unmodernize something? You can repair, or you can, I don't know, change, but unmodernized. Kind of incredible. Okay, incredible. That's another one. Credible, incredible. Yeah. So I want you to think about this. These words can be used with in or un. Okay. We were working with vocabulary. This, do you remember? This and miss. Some words that were used with this and miss. I had homework with that. But anyway, we are going to continue. So let's go to the next page, 60. It says, work in pairs and discuss which of the quotes about history you agree with. I don't like very much this quote, but Tamara, read number 1, please. Are you there, Tamara?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. Number 1.
The distinction between the past, present, and future is only a
stubbornly
persistent illusion. Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein said that. Why a stubbornly persistent? Do you know the word stubborn, right? You know stubborn?
Stubborn. No, I can't remember.
A person who is stubborn is a person who always thinks he or she is right. And no matter if he is wrong, he says, no, I'm right. Or you can also say the person who wants to do only what he wants. Okay? So that is a stubborn person. Yeah. For example, kids sometimes could be very stubborn. When you tell them, for example, you have to go to bed. No, I don't want to go to bed. I want to stay later. But you can't because your mom told me that you had to go to bed. No, I'm not going to go to bed. I'm going to stay up. That is to be stubborn. Think all the contrary. So this famous Albert Einstein said, the distinction between the past, the present, and the future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. It's only an illusion. Yeah, it's only an illusion. Do you agree with him? Think about it. Number 2, read it, Ricardo, please.
We learn from history that we never learn anything from history. And G.W.F. Hegel.
Hegel, yeah. And Melissa? Number 3?
Okay. Happy people have no history. Leo Tolstoy.
Leon Tolstoy. Yeah, you have three sentences. The distinction between the past, the present, and future is only a persistent illusion, a stubbornly persistent illusion. We learn from history that we never learn anything from history. And 3, happy people have no history. Yeah, what do you think about those sentences? Do you like any of those sentences, or do you think they're stupid sentences? What do you think? I offer the word. Tika is gone. So we have Macarena, Melissa, Ricardo, and Tamara. I think Tamara is here. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Who would like to start? Tell me if you like any of those sentences and why, or if you hate them and why. Tamara, you're going to be the first one.
Okay, I have to choose any of the 3?
No, it's not necessary. You can tell me, I hate those sentences. I don't like them. I think they are stupid. Or you can tell me, I agree with sentence number 1 or number 2 or number 3. You choose anything you want to say about those sentences, about those thinkings.
I don't agree with number 3.
Why
because
not?
It's that happy people have no history. I think that is kind of a lie. I think that happy people have histories, and that's why they are happy. I don't know what Leo Tolstoy. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why he says that.
Yeah, I don't know either, but yeah, okay, I understand. Okay, Ricardo, what about you?
I like the second one. We learn from history that we never learn anything from history. I think that means that we are meant to repeat the same mistakes that our ancestors made in the past, because you know that history repeats itself.
Yeah. Okay, good thinking, Ricardo. Congratulations, very good. And Melissa, what about you?
I agree with Ricardo. I like the second sentence. Because it is true, we are always repeating the history and the mistakes included.
Right. Tropecé de nuevo con la misma piedra, right? Okay, but for example, what Tamara said, why did he say that? Happy people have no history. Because I think that it has a little bit to be with another thinker who said that every pastime was better. Jorge Manriquez was the one who said that. Yeah, every old time is better than the one. So in the end, I think, Tamara, that when you are thinking that every pastime was better than this one, you're not happy. Because you are remembering, remembering things that happened to you. And you don't feel satisfied with what you're living at the moment. For that reason, I think that if you want to be happy, you don't have to think about the past. It's not that I agree with that, all right? Because I always like to remember things in my life. You know, I'm all the time looking at pictures, you know, and remembering things. But probably that's why he said that, okay? If you want to be happy, you have to forget about the past. You have to forget about history, right? Because, or else you're not going to be satisfied with you. Okay, Tamara, did you get it?
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Okay, it's interesting to think about that. Do you like to remember things? Or not? Or you prefer not
Yeah.
to remember?
The
Tamara,
good things.
you like it?
Yes, I always remember in my past.
Yeah.
Because for my past, I'm the person that I am now. So I think that that is not a bad thing. And I also remember the person that was in my life that they are now dead. So
Yeah.
I'm like
So
a
you remember,
nostalgic.
you
Yes, I'm a
remember,
little bit nostalgic person. So I always remember the person and what I lived in the past.
okay, Ricardo, what about you? Do you like to remember?
Yes, but only the things that bring me good memories about
Yeah.
the past. You know, I don't like to think of situations, embarrassing situations, or things like that.
Yeah. Melissa, what about you?
As I said before, only the good times.
Only the good
I like
times.
to remember, yeah, my grandfathers, that's all.
Right. You know, I love watching pictures, for example. And my wife all the time tells me, again, you're watching those old pictures. But you know, for me, it's so beautiful to remember those days. Although sometimes I suffer because when I see those pictures, I look at myself and I look so young and you know, handsome probably. You know, now that I am old, I don't have any hair. You know, so it's kind of you know, unsatisfying. But I try to remember beautiful moments. Usually, when I see those pictures, I try to remember that, and I also like to remember moments, sports moments. You know, I'm all the time watching. You know, Chino Rios, for example, when he was the first in the world, or when Chile got 2 championships in football, or I don't know. I try to remember those days, so I always watch those videos. I try to remember good things. Yeah, I think it is necessary to remember. It's not good to forget. The other time, no, it wasn't the other time. When you do you remember when there was that big fire in Valparaiso? That
Yes.
big fire. I remember that I watched a lady who was, you know, crying, and she cried and she cried, and she said, you know, I have suffered a lot, but the worst thing of all is not losing my house. It's losing my memories because I lost the last picture that I had from my father. Now I don't have any picture of him. My father died, and that picture was the only one I kept with me. So I imagine that. I mean, it must be terrible, you know, to lose your memories. And pictures are memories. Picture brings you memories. So I think it is necessary to remember. Sometimes it's sad to remember, you know, people that you loved and they are not anymore. But I think it is necessary sometimes to do it. Okay, let's continue with the grammar reference that you have in there. Oh, we're almost, but I'm going to give you a homework for this, okay? It says here, look at the sentences and decide if there is any difference in meaning between the phrases in italics. Pick statements which are true for you and compare your ideas with a partner. Look at the first one. It says, number one, I'm far more or a great deal more interested in the past than I used to be. You can say, I'm far more interested in the past than I used to be, or I'm a great deal more interested in the past than I used to be. Do you think that there is any difference in both sentences? Are they different or are they the same? What do you think? I am far more interested in the past than I used to be. I am a great deal more interested in the past than I used to be. What do you think? Are they the same or are they different? Do they have a different meaning? No, no different meaning. Both are the same. You can use both and both mean same. Okay, now the second one, it says, I'm just as likely to visit a museum as a shopping mall when I'm on holiday. I'm just as likely to visit a museum as a shopping mall when I'm on holiday. That is one. And the other is, I'm just nowhere near likely to visit a museum as a shopping mall when I'm on holiday. I'm nowhere near as likely to visit a museum as a shopping mall when I'm on holiday. Can you see a difference, or are they the same?
They sound opposite.
Yeah, they're just the opposite.
Yes.
The first one, I'm just very close. I'm likely to visit the museum. In the second one, I'm nowhere near, no possibilities to visit a museum, right? Okay, the next one. I think most kids learn easily much about the past from computer games. And the other one is, I think most kids learn quite as much about the past from computer games. Kids learn easily much about the past. Kids learn quite as much about the past from computer games. Are they the same? Are they different? If you are quiet, that means that no difference. No difference. Okay, they are like the same. And the last one, it says, I find it's not as much fun going to a museum by yourself. I find it's much less fun going to a museum by yourself. Not as much fun going to a museum by yourself, much less fun going to a museum by yourself.
The same?
Do you agree? Well, they're not the same, Tamara. I think the second one is stronger. Yeah, it's much less fun.
Okay.
Not as much. Much less is stronger, right? And look at the language tip here. Read it, please, Ricardo.
Like is used with nouns or gerunds to make comparisons. He is tall like his father. Watching cricket is like watching paint dry. As is only used in comparisons in the phrases as, and not so, as.
Yeah, right? So like is used with nouns or gerunds. Tall like his father, it's like watching. Watching cricket is like watching paint dry. Okay, to finish, I'm going to show you this, that I was thinking about comparisons. Okay, can you see? Yeah, well, I was thinking about the different ways of making comparison. The most typical one is with, and I separated short adjectives and long adjectives. The typical one is big, bigger for a small adjective, young, younger. And then I wrote two sentences. I think your house is not bigger. Isn't, no, it's, I made a mistake. Yeah. I think your house is not bigger than mine. It's not bigger than mine. And she's younger than her husband. In the case of long adjectives, you have to use more. Comfortable, more comfortable. This coach is more comfortable to sit. Significant, more significant. Equality is more significant than freedom, right? Then you have other ways of making comparisons with much, with less, with far, by far, as, not so as. In the case of this first one, this one from here, you have to respect the same idea of short adjective and long adjectives. So you are by far taller than your sister. Balpo is by far more attractive than Santiago. My English teacher is much older than my mom. In here, no, you use much, but with the adjective in the comparative form, much older, much bigger. And what it is, a long adjective, much more. You have to use it much more interesting, much more attractive, right? So in here, you use much, but you have to respect the comparison. If it is short, you say much older, much bigger, much younger, much smaller. In the case of a long one, you say much more interesting, much more attractive, much more expensive. Yeah. And in this case, with this one, the other part, you have to use the adjective, but you use it in the normal way, not as a comparison. For example, she's not so pretty, not so prettier, not so pretty as her sister. This professor is as qualified as his colleague. Yeah. Then you have the other way of comparison, the more, the more. What is the translation for that? For example, the sooner the better. How do you translate it? When do you use it? What do you want to say when you use that expression?
Cuanto antes mejor.
That is as soon as possible. The sooner the better.
Mientras más pronto mejor.
That's it. Mientras más, más. And in there you have to respect also if it is a short adjective or a long adjective. Okay, you say, for example, the sooner the better. Mientras más pronto, mejor. The more intelligent, the more stuck up. How do you translate this? The more intelligent, the more stuck up. Mientras más inteligente, más creída. Stuck up, that is a stuck up. You know, a person who is stuck up is the one that, you know, has her nose up, right? That is a stuck up. So you use, for example, and you can change depending, you can use a short adjective with a long adjective. And you can say, for example, the bigger, the more dangerous. For example, the faster you run, faster, short adjective, the faster you run, the more dangerous for you. Okay? But this expression, the sooner, the or the more, or you can mix it. But that's the idea, mientras más. And when you use this expression, mientras más, you have to use it. Respect that if it is a short adjective, you have to use it with r, and if it is a long adjective, you have to use it the more. Yeah. A veces podemos decir, I'm going to think about a sentence in Spanish. For example, if you want to say, mientras más caro, más malo. How could you say that, Ricardo? Mientras más caro, más malo.
Mientras más caro, más malo.
Right. Sometimes it happens, you know. Some products buy, mientras más malo, más caro.
The more expensive, the worst it is.
It. Pretty good. That's it. Okay. The more expensive, the worse. right?
Yeah.
The more expensive, the worse. Now, I was preparing this guia for you, but I could I could only did 3 exercises in which I want you to use all this. All right. I'm going to try to finish it. And maybe tomorrow I'm going to give you we're going to see it tomorrow again. And then I'm going to give it to you for you to practice. Yeah. Because we are all the time thinking about comparing with adjectives, and only we think that in using ER and more. But there are many other ways of comparison. This one, for example, as, not so as, are comparisons of equality. No tan como, tan como, right? This one's by far taller. Tú eres lejos más alto que tu hermana. Valparaíso es lejos más atractivo que Santiago. My English teacher is much older than my mom. Mi profesor de inglés es mucho más viejo. Ustedes usan el más, pero usan mucho más. Mucho más viejo que mi mamá. La película es mucho más interesante. Okay? Those are also ways of comparing with adjectives. And also this one, the air, the more, the more. Yeah. So think about that. Probably I'm going to upload it to you for you today to do those 3 exercises. All right. And then tomorrow we can add some other ways of comparing, because now you have to use other ways of comparing. It is necessary for you. Right. So let's stop here. And tomorrow we are going to continue with this unit. We are taking like 1 week and a half in passing one unit. So we think about that. We are going to be just exactly in 3 weeks. We're going to start with the presentations, and we are going to be done with the units, the 7 units that we have to cover this semester. Okay. Okay. So that's all for today. Have a good day. See you tomorrow at 6:35. Okay. That's it.
Okay.
Yes.
Teacher,
Okay.
can I have a word with you?
Yeah. Okay. No problem. Okay. You wanted to ask a question, Ricardo, too, or not?
No. Bye. See you
Okay.
tomorrow.
See you then. Bye-bye. Melissa.
Sigue grabando.
Ah, wait. Sorry.
Sí, no está en la clase.
I'm going to stop sharing here, and I'm going to stop recording.